never stops, always continuing. And this is one of the particularities of Bach's music. There is no part which are not interesting by itself. Even alone, if I just play that alone, without the thing, it's interesting. Everything has got value. And so on.
There wasn't really much difference at that time between a performer and a composer. If you performed, you also composed. And Bach, this music taught you how to compose and showed you what the possibilities were. And that's in fact the way it was used for a century after his death. Mozart, Beethoven, Schumann, Chopin, Weber, Liszt, all of them learned how to compose by playing Bach on the piano.
In May 1720, when he was 35, Bach accompanied Prince Leopold to Karlsbad, leaving his wife to look after their 4 surviving children. When he returned in July, he learned that Maria Barbara had fallen ill and died, possibly as a result of her 7th pregnancy, and had already been buried. The news only reached him when he entered his own house. She was 35 years old. A widower with 4 young children, Bach could not live alone for long. The following year, on December the 3rd, 1721, Bach married Anna Magdalena Wilke, the daughter of a court trumpeter and a fine soprano. The marriage combined both romantic and musical fulfillment and lasted 29 years.
We need to think of a rather dynamic relationship. There must have been quite a bit of give and take among 2 professional musicians. Anna Magdalena as the singer who had considerable professional experience. And she might have told her husband off and on, this is unsingable, or, I'd like the melody to go this way rather than that way, and he would then respond. I think Bach is a musician who tried to bring out the best in his companions and in his colleagues.
Well, Bach had the reputation in his time, in fact still does, of having written enormously difficult music. He himself described his music as incomparably more difficult than that of his contemporaries. And it was. When he writes music for voices or even for wind instruments, he almost forgets that these players and singers have to breathe at times. He simply forgets about it, and he has an unbroken, continuous musical line for these performers and forgets about the practical necessities.
Bach's home was a musical workshop. His manuscripts often show Anna Magdalena's, his students', or his children's work as copyists, but the density, fluency, and corrections in this manuscript marks it as Bach's own.
Bach's writing is beautiful. I love to see his handwriting and his manuscripts because they are so crystal clear, and his lines are so beautifully wavy. When you play Bach from a printed score, then everything is so straight and so clinical. And Bach's handwriting gives you the inspiration. His music is emotional and, in a real sense, romantic. It's full of feeling and full of waves. There are, to me, no straight lines in Bach, always waves.
In 1723, Bach's work at Cöthen was compromised when the prince was asked for military support by Prussia and had less money available for court entertainment. With a large family and an uncertain future, Bach sought alternative employment. He found it in the university town of Leipzig, where he could also ensure a good education for his children. At the age of 38, he was appointed choir leader and Kapellmeister of St. Thomas Church, a prestigious post that made Bach, in effect, the director of music for the entire city. He stayed in Leipzig for the next 27 years, the rest of his life.
Let's take a closer look at the composer's study during an